good, guys? It's your boy Corey.
It's your boy John.
And welcome back to the Artistry Drop, where we feature stories from today's rising artists.
Yes, sir.
If you like being inspired, don't miss out on our weekly episodes, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification to be notified when we drop new episodes.
Let's go.
All right, guys. So for today's episode, we are going to be doing something a little bit different. Both of you guys, or most of you guys, know both me and John are videographers and photographers, and what we wanted to do was bring awareness to photographer and model collaborations because of the tons of creepy stories we've heard within the photography community and models.
So many.
But obviously, there's no better person to bring back to the show to help us talk about this topic. It's none other than our good friend Seangthea.
Let's go. See.
Welcome back. Yes, she is back, guys. This is like the third time we've had you, but we always love having you on the Artistry Drop.
Hey, we have to.
Yeah, we have to.
There's so many different stories.
There is, and like I said, definitely no better person to bring on except our good friend C. She's in the model industry and stuff like that. So definitely gonna get her points, like with collaborating with photographers and what like model etiquette, or not model, photographer and model etiquette pretty much when it comes to collaboration. Spilling the tea, guys. So stick around if you guys do want to get some tips and stuff like that from a professional model herself. Photographer and videographers like us. But before we do, let's get into the drink of the day.
All right, the drink of the day is a strawberry coconut daiquiri. So I blended some frozen coconut, put some cream of coconut in there, put some ice and a few shots of coconut Malibu, and then I think that's about it. Oh, some simple syrup, and then I topped it off with whipped cream, a little bit of pineapple leaves, and I toasted the coconut shavings myself and dipped it in some coconut cream around the rim of the cup and froze the cup so it stays in place, and there is the strawberry coconut daiquiri.
Oh, you see my face the whole time. I was like,
yeah, I know.
She was trying so hard not to drink it.
No, I really was. Like, as soon as I came in, I just but...
Yeah, but now we can drink it.
Go ahead. You can drink it. But of course, majority of you guys know I am still not ready for cocktails, but we got my rosé wine here. So, eventually we'll get back into cocktails, guys. But for now, sticking with the rosé.
Hey, let's go ahead and cheers to a good podcast.
Good podcast.
Hey,
let's
cheers.
go.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I cannot.
Oh God.
Why am I struggling? Oh.
Is there something stuck in there?
Shouldn't be, but
do you know how many
maybe
times
there is something stuck?
You know how many times?
What do I even do? Do I go like this?
Yeah.
Or see if there's like actual like.
No, there was stuff.
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this one time.
Maybe it's like a little strawberry or ice. This is gonna be the whole episode.
That was a little fart that came from the straw itself. It's like.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what happened one time?
Thanks.
So one time he had all these diced up strawberries and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So literally, as I'm trying to drink it and the shit's not coming out. So I literally pull out the straw and there's this long ass piece of strawberry. So I'm like, and then all of a sudden the liquid just comes all out and stuff like that. I was like, bro, you need to like dice up all that shit because it's gonna be getting stuck in all of our straws.
Yeah, you just hear people like trying to slurp it out.
No, that was me literally. We have a funny reel on that, and that shit was hilarious. But he's been doing well lately,
I thought I blended it up pretty good.
No, it's good. I think because I had the straw like on the leaf, so I wasn't. So I have to put it over here.
Okay, that makes sense.
I guess we'll see.
Give it one more shot and see.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, it looks good.
ASMR.
It looks good. Yeah, I saw it.
All right, there we go.
The level change.
All right, we figured it out. We figured it out, and now we're ready to just dive in, guys.
Let's go.
To start off the show, I definitely want to talk about how to reach out to a model because I definitely have seen a lot of creepy messages that models post online about photographers hitting them up and asking them to do shoots that the model really isn't comfortable with, So I kind of want to give my take on what I would typically do and what I've kind of always done when reaching out to models. So, of course, once you find a model you're interested in working with, definitely reach out with a professional message. Like, write it on a notepad or something like that on your phone, and just copy and paste that shit whenever you find a model that you want to work with. So typically what I would pretty much say, like, I'm gonna give you guys a template on what I would typically say. So I would say, hey, my name is Corey and I'm a Los Angeles based videographer and photographer. I came across your page and would love to work with you. Here are some samples of my work to show you what I can do. Let me know if you're interested, and if so, let's go ahead and set up a date and time. Hope to hear back from you soon, and take care and thanks. So I mean, honestly, it cuts to the point pretty much. And obviously I'm showing some work, because I feel like some people, they don't typically say, oh, here's my work, or I'm so used to sending in my reel, like my videographer or director's reel, to show them what I can do. But I feel like some people just hit you up, they expect you to go through like their profile. But I think it's a lot better to just send in some of the work that you can do, so they have a good idea of what you can actually provide with them,
Right.
And like I said, after you get, or once the model replies back and, she loves your work, go from there, schedule it up, plan out the shoot, and also be sure to let the model know that she is also free to bring a friend, and so they don't feel uncomfortable
Right.
on the first meeting. Obviously, like, you don't want to make the model feel uncomfortable the first time around. You want to make sure that they're comfortable in a comfortable environment. So, like, let them know they're able to bring a friend. If they have a boyfriend, bring them along. So you're definitely comfortable. I know Seangthea, she may have a story in which, like, photographers have reached out to you and it's kind of backfired. So, like, definitely, can we talk on that? Like, what are some of the creepy things that have happened to you?
Yeah, I think you're referring to the incident that most recently happened that I posted
Definitely.
about.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but first of all, the template that you have is perfect. It's very professional, straight to the point. I feel like another thing you can even add, because LA is such a small circle when you think about it.
Yeah.
You most likely have mutuals, so you can be like, oh, I worked with your mutual, this and that.
That's true.
To kind of establish a kind of familiarity.
Yeah.
Like, that's even better to add to.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. But going on, I think one thing is people not having, a portfolio or work.
Right.
It's great that you added, this is my work. Some people are like, hey, I'm a photographer, I want to shoot with you. Their account is on private.
Exactly.
Or their account is not on private, but they have no sort of photography work. And it's like, are you really a photographer? What is this?
Yeah.
But the incident that most recently happened is this photographer reached out to me. It wasn't necessarily unprofessional in the beginning, but it was just kind of very casual. He's like, hey, I would like to shoot sometime. Like, I feel like that's the very basic.
See, it's
DM
super
people
basic.
say.
I mean, it's not professional enough.
Yeah. So he was just like, I would love to shoot sometime, and I saw his work and I liked it. So I was like, okay, I'm down. And then he did ask me, what are you comfortable with shooting? And I said everything except for nude and implied.
Right.
He was like, okay, got it.
Yeah.
And then he sends me inspo. He's like, I'm guessing inspo. He sends inspo, and all of the inspo is nude and implied.
Right.
And I went, okay, whatever. Maybe he's just like sending inspo, but I can work off of it. And I like this one shot, and the shot explicitly was just a girl wearing just fishnets, but it was like implied, but she wasn't wearing underwear, like just fishnets.
Yeah.
And I told them I'd be down to do an iteration of it where I'm at least wearing bottoms over the fishnets.
Right.
And then he replies, oh, well, I've done that before. It doesn't look right.
Right.
And that's when I was I got a red
flag. Yeah.
And I just instantly blocked him.
Yeah.
And then I posted it on my close friends first.
Yeah.
And a bunch of my model friends were telling me, oh my gosh, I had a weird incident with him too. And it was too much of a coincidence.
Yeah.
And then when I looked deeper into his page, like I actually looked at his page, he hasn't posted any photography work since 2020.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
So that's when I was like, oh, like, what have you been doing since 2020? Have you not even been working? And then so that's
or just meeting up and being a creep.
Exactly. So that's another thing to look out for models, is when you're looking at their page, how often are they working and all that. And there's a lot of photographers and videographers that will be like, oh, I worked with this so-and-so famous person. That's how they establish credibility, because he had a story highlight and it was like celebs. Like celebs he worked with. That's how he like establishes his credibility. Because, more naive models may see that and be like, oh,
Yeah.
he's worked with
exactly.
this big name,
So he's popping.
He's popping.
Yeah.
He's
I could
legit.
trust him.
Yeah. But that happens so often. Or these people will reach out and be like, oh, I'm the director of so and so. Like, I had this guy DM me, oh, I'm the director of Vogue. And I was like, okay. He was like, I would love to fly you out to Vegas for an event. And I looked at his page, and he worked for, I can't think of the brand, but it's a vape brand, and the guy is known for like flying out all these like beautiful Instagram models and all of that. And it's like, if I show you guys what I'm talking about, you guys won't know what I mean.
Yeah.
But that's another way that these people kind of lure models in almost. Or not even models, just girls trying to get into the industry.
And
so.
That's crazy.
I like I said, and that's the fucked up part. Like literally, you know, I mean, it's pretty much just dudes trying to get, I don't want to say it like this, but get into women's pants. Like we like back home in Seattle, we do know a couple people that's their intentions. They try to look like a professional like photographer, but literally all the photos that this dude takes is all in his house with women just in their underwear. So it's like, you know, he either invites them over, and then I started hearing stories about him as well. Like literally after a photo shoot, he would try to, you know, do some sexual stuff with them. And, you know, and that's the sad thing about the photography community is I feel like, of course, not all of them, but I feel like maybe a good 25% of photographers do this kind of shit, and it makes us look bad.
Yeah, it ruins the art.
It ruins the art form of photography. And like I said, just in general, makes like professional photographers like us look just fucking bad. You know, and then I think also it gets to a certain point where models, like, they have some kind of like maybe PTSD because of what they had, you know, dealt with previously. So now it's like they're very selective. You know, even if you have some work to show, like I feel like they're super selective. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, majority of people I hit up, they always want to shoot with me. So I'm not saying, I'm just like I'm just saying I go about it a professional way. But you know, and that's why it's good to have a portfolio, like you said. You know, show the portfolio. That's why I usually, whenever I do hit up somebody, or you know, now it got to the point where I just love working with the same people I usually work with. You know, I don't really hit up anybody new because it's a lot easier to just work with somebody you've already worked with for a while. You know, like you. I mean, we've worked tons of times together, so that's why I just love keeping it, you know, with people that I've already worked with. It's just a lot easier. But you know, when it does come time to work with somebody new, I always am sure to show my work, like this is what I can actually do and provide you with and stuff like that.
Try to make them feel comfortable too.
Yeah,
I think that's important, especially when it's your first time a meeting and things like that. One thing that, you know, we always say, you know, is to bring somebody. Have you ever like came to an interaction where they were like, oh, you can't bring anybody?
I've never personally came across that interaction, but obviously that's a clear red flag.
Yeah, that is.
Like, the sad truth is just there's girls that don't know better. Like, they're very naive, and you can't blame them because no one's ever taught them, or maybe, you know, they don't really have like that red flag like indicator. So I've heard many instances where that happens. Or even sometimes I don't even ask if I can bring a friend. I just bring them.
And that's probably a better route to go. Because,
I
mean, if the photographer gets scared or nervous, you'll obviously be able to tell. And then you're like, this guy had different intentions, you know? And
that's crazy.
Yeah, like I said, there are just a lot of creeps out there that just use the art form to, you know, meet women. And I've heard so many stories, and me and him have even talked about you know, certain stories. We'll definitely dive in a little bit more with some of the stories. So women are actually more careful and very selective on who you choose, because these are very deep. Like, some of the shit we've heard are like super deep and fucked up. So.
Yeah, it is. You know, back to, you know, bringing a friend, I think it's important. You know, when me and Corey used to shoot all the time, we always shot like together, and mostly because, you know, I was still kind of like training under his wing to like get comfortable with shooting, and he was teaching me things, but I also made it really more of like a collaborative and comfortable environment for the model too. You know, that there was more than just one
like
person, one-on-one. It was
Yeah.
like, us, and then they brought a friend, so it made it really like a fun time. And I feel like it made them feel also more comfortable and more open. But there was a couple that were like really awkward, no matter like how much we tried to make them feel comfortable. And we've been doing this for a while now, and trying to talk to them. I'll share this one story about our most awkward time.
We had
shooting.
an awkward time together shooting with this one model. But
so on her IG, right, she only has like a couple pictures, but she was very, dressed very girly.
Well, to start off first,
Okay, go ahead.
this is when like me and John were literally trying to build up both of our portfolios. So we were reaching out to so many models back home in Seattle, just trying to pretty much shoot with anybody that look like they can model, or had some kind of sensibility of modeling and stuff. So
so we were just hitting up super random people, some people who don't even model,
just wanting cool photos.
Cool photos. And then we met like downtown, at the Ferris wheel, and then she on her IG she dressed really girly and everything. And then when we actually we were talking to her, and then when we actually met up, she was with her family. We were like, okay, cool, she's there. And then she left her family, went somewhere else to let her do her thing. And when we were talking to her, well, first she didn't look nothing like the picture. She dressed very like tomboyish, and we were like, okay, maybe she's like going with that vibe. But it was totally different than what we were expecting.
No, another thing for sure too is we sent her over like inspiration.
Oh yeah.
Like this is what we're looking for, but then she came with something totally opposite of what we were trying to go for. So that threw us off too.
Yeah, and honestly, like it was like too casual to the point where like we knew like she didn't come ready. Like she just like was like, oh, I just woke up today and put whatever on, type of thing. So we're like, okay, we're just gonna do the best we can. So as we were talking to her, we always we'll kind of get into like how to like make the model become more comfortable. But we were just talking to her, trying to get to know her, to break the ice, because we get to kind of tell there's some. She was like really tense, and maybe she was shy or something. She hasn't done it before. So when we were talking to her, it's very like one word. She was very like closed off and awkward and short with her response. We were like, okay. So he goes and shoot with her first, and then they're doing some photos and different angles and things like that. But literally, like it was the quickest I've ever seen him shot. It was literally like maybe 5 minutes.
Yeah, and usually like because what we would do is we would tag team. So it's like. I would bring him to all my shoots, and I would do my thing for maybe like 30 to 45 minutes. Like he'll be there just watching as well. Just kind of. This is when he was also just learning up on photography and stuff. But yeah, usually my typical. Obviously, you already know this. We usually shoot for about like 30 to 45 minutes. But yeah, this one was the quickest I've ever done, and it was like about 5 minutes. So pretty much. What had happened is, I tried to talk to this girl, and we're definitely gonna get into that topic in a bit. But tried talking to her, try to bring up subjects and topics that we can talk about. Just to keep the vibe going. This girl literally was like a mute. Oh my God. Never said anything. Like even when I would ask her, she would just kind of smirk and smile. I was like. This is really weird. This is really weird and
so
awkward.
like, how was your day? She's like,
yeah, exactly. It was.
What do you do for work?
I'm not even lying though. This is literally how it was. Like,
it was
100% facts. Like,
God.
So literally within that 5 minute time, I was like, okay, I think we're good. I got what I needed. Yeah. And then she was
and then he walks over to me. He whispers. He's like, bro, it's so fucking awkward.
So now like, you can kind of get into yours.
And then it was my turn to go. So I was like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna try to do my best. I mean, I shot for like a little bit long, like 10 minutes. I was really trying to talk to her, get different angles. And then we were just done, and then we were just like, okay, thanks for coming out, we sent you photos and things like that, and literally like it was done like probably like a 20-minute shoot.
Yeah, total.
Quickest for sure, especially for two people.
Yeah.
And then we just walk away, and then we were just like, bro, that was fucking awkward.
Yeah.
That was the most awkward person we've ever met. And
my God.
And then we never even posted the photo. She never asked for the photo, so I feel like it was a mutual thing that like.
No, it was definitely
weird.
Something so she can gain followers because
right,
during that time too, like I was building up my following, and I would definitely say I built my name in Seattle as a photographer. So that's why a lot of people were willing to work with me and stuff like that. So I think she kind of saw that and tried to utilize that and take advantage of my work so she can gain followers. And, you know, it's sad somebody would do that. And, you know, that's why now it's like, of course, you learn from those kind of things. But now it's like I'm very selective on who I would work with, you know, and that's just how it is. I mean, honestly, I don't really care if nobody posts my photos because that's my work. All I care about is my work. But the thing is the fact that I know after that shoot, I knew she was utilizing my work to just gain followers because she did not comment on the pictures or, you know, like anything like that. It was like, I already knew like this is what she was trying to do. So,
and we've been very blessed too for like not having those kind of situations come up. That was like one in like thousands of like models we shot with.
Yeah, we shot with so many people and that was just one incident that we've ever had the most awkward shoot or a shoot go bad at all. I don't think I've ever had a bad shoot. I always enjoy majority of my shoots, you know, and that was just the worst one. It was really weird because I mean, like I said, you got to think about it. I'm super extroverted, so it's like I would expect, you know, otherwise, like if I get a vibe with like a model and she's kind of shy or, you know, and it happens, you know, some girls are shy when they first meet, you know, and that's what, well, I definitely want to get into that topic, but you know, it's just important to talk to your model and, you know, try to break them out of the shell if they are nervous about the shoot or, you know, whatever. But that's why I'm saying it's like you have to talk to it. Did you have anything else?
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, I think being awkward and also being like shy is like, you know, and creepy is like two different things because, you know, back when we used to always shoot together, you know, I was very introverted and, you know, he was an extrovert. So when we would go on these shoots, right, I would hardly ever talk.
I would watch it too. I would just, you know, just because this is during the time he was just starting out with photography and, you know, I would watch how he shoots and that's why he was studying how I would do, you know, I would talk to the model, shoot, you know, talk, shoot, and I just noticed things with him. I was like, bro, like you need to start talking to the model because it's kind of awkward, you know. So I'm glad, you know, he got to the point now where he is and, you know, he's definitely killing it with, you know, being more out there. You know, so.
And I came from a dance background, so I didn't need to talk. I just need to dance. You know, it's two different things. I never had to like be in front of a mic or go in front of people and like talk. But dancing is always like something way different that came naturally to me. But like, yeah, so even on these shoots, like I would, you know, try to talk more and, you know, become more friendly, more outgoing. And, you know, it definitely makes it less awkward for both us and the model itself. And I think, you know, we definitely came a long way. And there's a difference between, you know, being shy and awkward and being a creep, and I think that's something we want to dive into a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. You know, so one thing, this is why I wanted to talk about this is because talking, like obviously, you know, we do know some photographers are introverted. Some are extroverted, like, you know, myself, but it's very important that when it comes to the day of your shoot, like you want to talk to the model a bit before just getting right into shooting, because the thing is you want to make sure a model like yourself or any other model out there is comfortable with working with you. Like if you just go, you guys meet up, oh, hi, my name is this, blah, 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 and then you just get right into shooting, it's weird. But of course, you know, working in a high pace industry like modeling, I know you experience that sometimes too. You don't really get a chance to talk to like the director for any of the shows you're in and stuff like that, and that's understandable. But what I'm morally trying to get at is like the one-on-one
freelance,
freelance, you know, photographers and stuff like that. So like photographers, like practice talking, like you know, like get out there and practice talking, because shoots, I feel like, also are these are practices where you can learn on shoots, like learn how to talk to the model, and I feel like that's how John learned how to talk a lot more, was just from shooting a lot more.
No, for sure.
You know,
so because I think like us, like as photographers too, you know, there's always that person like Corey who's like really outgoing, loves going out to shoots, loves traveling to all these exotic places, you know, to get the best shot. And then there's photographers or videographers like me who are like really more gear and techie, to where like we love like, you know, all the nitty gritty of the technology, but then we don't really see that there's actually like a social side to shooting. So we're like, so when we go out with our fancy ass gear and, you know, we geek out on, we're just like, yeah, I just want to be there to shoot. just for the photos, but not thinking and knowing that there's actually, a social skill that you need to bring onto it as well.
Exactly.
And I think some photographers, need to know that as well, that, there's two sides to a shoot for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want to get your take, like, on, have you ever dealt with some awkward situations where it's like, a first-time photographer or, anything like that? Like, how do you typically deal with it? I know, because you're pretty extroverted, too. I'm not going to say
in
you're...
the middle.
I think you definitely are in the middle, but I think also the fact that we've known each other for a while, it's like,
I'm more comfortable.
Yeah, you're more comfortable,
sure.
but...
I'm the same way.
Yeah, so it's like, what would you, like, going into a shoot with a first-time photographer, how do you usually deal with it?
I mean, I don't work with first-time photographers now. Even before,
she on a different level.
She on a different level now.
She don't work with first-time photographers.
She's on fucking like Paramount Plus and like all these Netflix shows.
She's in 2 agencies. What's good?
She killing it though.
But what was I gonna say?
By the way, I gotta say I'm proud of you.
Yeah, you
like,
come a long way. For
just
sure.
seeing you, where you've gone. I gotta throw it out there. And you've been a great friend as well. And a great person to work and shoot with, and seeing your progression onto what you're doing now, seeing you on shows.
You're gonna make me cry.
You barely drink it.
Oh damn! We got to give you your flowers, because
for sure.
I had mentioned on our previous podcast, it's so awesome to see your friends grow and get to a certain level of success, because you, of course, like us, we're also working to get there as well. But it's like, when you work close with somebody and you can call them a friend and you're seeing them get to that level of success, you got to be proud of them.
Yeah,
exactly. That's how you know a good friend. Like when you started working Universal, I'm like, yes. And when you were videographing at the festival, I'm like, yes.
Hey, we're all winning.
And like I said, I'm proud of you because you've come a long way. We came from, our first shoot almost 3 years ago. It's literally like 3 years ago, almost. So I love seeing your success on where you're going, and you're gonna just keep killing it. So of course you gotta keep
inspirational
going.
Talks with Grandpa Corey.
Thank you,
Grandpa. Of course. No, I mean, just kind of going back into it, like dealing with a photographer that isn't really extroverted. Like, how would you typically deal with it?
I definitely have worked with photographers that are a little bit more introverted. And there's this one photographer in particular. I've actually worked with him a few times because he's not a bad person whatsoever. He's just introverted. And I love the photos that we would take together. But there was times where we're shooting and he doesn't give any sort of not validation, but like, oh, great shot, good job, do that, keep doing that. Every time he's like,
that used to be me.
That used to be him. Like, no
and
joke.
I just remember I would always ask, like, is that good? Is that okay? Because at the end of the day, with collabs, it's not just my time; it's your guys' time too, and that's something for models watching to keep in mind. Because I think they always think, oh, it's all about me because I'm the model, I'm in front of the camera, but it's taking up your guys' time too. If anything, it takes up. Not if anything, it does take up more of your time because not only do you have to shoot, do you have to edit, and I know editing takes forever.
It does.
Worst part.
Exactly.
Tedious. Exactly. I know that. So, when you have those kind of shoots where you're not getting any sort of verbal communication of how it's going, I'm constantly asking, oh, is it good? Because I don't want to be wasting either of our times if we're shooting and. If you don't like it, if you don't. So, it all comes down to communication because you don't want to waste anyone's time.
Yeah, facts.
And I don't know. It's just, it's strange because he started getting more comfortable with me, like the next shoots. But then definitely the first few shoots that we did together where we didn't have that verbal communication, we probably would have like 500 photos, but only like 2 or 3 selects out of them because we don't have that communication. He's not telling me, oh, that's working, that isn't, because obviously I can't see myself
on the camera.
Only he can see.
That's another thing too, is like showing the model like as you're working the work, because then they know how to correct themselves, and then you also like kind of get a base level like where you guys are both at.
No, that's actually a good point that you bring up because I love when you know, when probably you're doing one little set, and then, you know, you'll stop and be like, hey, look at the camera. You guys do that all the time. Like, hey, look, this is how it's looking. And then we're either like, oh my God, that's amazing, let's keep doing that. Or we'll be like, oh, it's not working, and then we'll just change it up. But there's, you know, there's plenty of photographers that don't really, I don't feel like it's oh, I don't want to show you. I feel like it's just something that goes over their head.
Yeah, they don't think about it.
Yeah, they don't think about it. And it's kind of an awkward place for a model to be like, oh, can I see the photos? You know, like that's kind of weird to say too. So definitely even something little is showing them, you know, the raw photos in the camera and seeing how things going can really help a model's confidence, because I've had shoots where they don't show, you know, the camera at all. And then I leave and I'm just like, was that even good? Like, what just happened? You know? Even like my jobs and my shoots, they always show you the screen. They always show you how things are going, because they want you to know that, oh, you're doing good. Oh, you need to work on this, because it all comes down to not wasting anyone's time.
Oh, yeah, 100%. For sure. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to lie. Like, you know, during my time, like, just practicing up on photography, I was doing that. I was, like, showing the model, like, this is what the photos look like. But in that, I feel like I got to a certain point where it's like I kind of slowed down on that, but I'm telling it verbally. Like, you know, a majority of the I was like, oh, this is fucking fire. Like, you know, like and that's another thing I want to touch on is like photographers that don't guide your model. I don't really need to guide you anymore. That's why, and you know, I usually
that's how you know you're fired.
Yeah, no, usually
you just keep going.
No, literally,
we just show it to you. Yeah, just
no,
keep
literally, whenever me and C meet up, I'm like, you already know how we work. Like, just do your thing. You always kill it. I don't really need to tell you much. No, but if I do notice a certain pose that I really like, I'll tell you to go back to it and do that again. You know, and that's important still. But I guess I'm talking more about first-time photographers. Like, guys, you gotta learn how to communicate. Right, like, if there's no communication whatsoever, the photos are not gonna come out fire.
Exactly.
You gotta let the model know that they are killing it. Like, like I said, for me, I'm like, fucking fire. Like, you know this too. I'll be like, that shit's fire. You know, like even verbally wise, like just say, oh yeah, we got some heat or we got some fire. Like, if you're not saying anything like that, you're definitely making the model feel like, did I do a good job? Like, am I doing a good job? Yeah. Just all it takes is like, but don't fucking lie about it. Like, you know, don't you do good. Yeah, don't lie about it, because I mean, for myself as a photographer, it's like, you know, like if I lie about it, I'm gonna regret it when I go back to post and edit the photo. I'm like, fuck, I should have literally said like she was doing great, you know, when I could have recorrected her. But you know, that's why also too I take tons of photos, you know, like even our last shoot at the arcade, I took over 1,000 photos. Yeah. And because I'll keep clicking away, and then, you know, just little movements, you know, and out of that I just come out with 1,000 photos. So but you know, back to it, communication is key. Just let the model know, guys, like, she's doing great. You don't have to necessarily show the photos, just let her know at least she's, you know, she's killing it. But I would say first time photographers, show your photos, because you definitely need you like you as a model too. I think also you can help a photographer that is just kind of getting into it. And that's actually happened to me. You know, I you know, when I was just getting into it, even I wouldn't say she was a model. She was just kind of, she knew her angles. She, you know, she would be like, how about you try this? And I was like, oh, that's actually pretty cool, you know? And it's like a learning experience for both. Learning experience for both the photographer and the model. And that's how you become a better photographer. You know, I love the communication because that's just key in general. If there's nothing there, the photos aren't just gonna be fire.
Yeah, and then also too, like, communication goes a long way as well, because not only do you get to see like their perspective, because sometimes they see stuff that you don't necessarily see, or maybe they don't like, you know, maybe their hair was like in a certain way, or maybe the angle that
I'll just kill it in post.
Yeah, kill it in post, right? Maybe the angle, you know, to you, like, they look good, but to them sometimes maybe the angle might make them look too big or too fat or something like that, or maybe they have a good side.
Okay, just you bring that girls have an eye on.
You know, you bring up a good point, because that's another thing as a photographer you got to know is a woman's angle. Because you got to know what a girl is actually, a woman is looking for, like, in her photos. Like, sometimes a woman likes to look tall, so you got to shoot a little bit lower and get those, you know, shots where they look a little bit taller. Or even if they want to look a little bit skinnier, get those high up shots or face looks slimmer. You know, and then, you know, just posing their face, turning it a little bit so they. That's the thing as little a photographer.
Things, little things.
Little things as a photographer, you gotta know what a female wants, because they will get on you, or they just won't like the work, you know.
Yeah.
Like you got to, because that'll show whether you are a great photographer or a mediocre photographer. It's like getting those angles. You got to get those angles. So
yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like those situations?
don't be scared.
She's like, I worked it with all these big budgets. I never had that happen.
No, I can't think of any on the top of my head. No, I cannot think. I think I've been very blessed where the photographers I have worked with, I haven't had any super uncomfortable experiences because I have a very good vibe radar. Even based on people's social media and how they talk and stuff, I can tell right away, you know, is it a green flag or a red flag?
Yeah,
that's then you guys know me, I get along with basically everyone.
You do.
Right.
And
C's a vibe, guys. Yeah. She's a vibe.
like, I'm not saying it to
C
be
is
like,
like
oh,
the
I get along with everyone.
She goes with the flow.
Yeah.
Even if a photographer is a little shy, I feel like I'm able, I like to start the conversation. Or
you try to break him out of their shell.
I try to as well. So I never really had that sort of instance where I needed to
Well, also I think, you know, it's just like, you know, you're such a professional already. You have so much experience that you're able to, you know, help a first time photographer out, you know, just in general. Like I highly doubt a photographer is going to take it to offense. It's like once they see what you've done, I mean, all the, you know, the shows you've been on and, you know, the photography or the photos you have and stuff, I highly doubt a newcomer is going to take offense to that. So it's always good, you know, even like I said, even as a model, I appreciate when a model's like, you know, maybe go with this, because that gives me, like, that tells me what they want, and I want to give what the model wants as well. You know, aside from just what I see in my vision, I also want to make the model happy with their photos and how they look as well.
Yeah, it's a collaborative effort.
It's a collaborative effort.
So
exactly.
on both ends, for sure.
So I mean, I would definitely say, you know, models out there also, you know, just give some instruction to some photographers. You know, I think that's helpful in both, for both to grow in general. You know, but morely the photographer, honestly, just because, like, if it's a first timer, doesn't really know what he's doing, I think having the model there to kind of give him that push or that guidance will definitely help him become a better photographer, so he knows what to look for in the future, like for future shots and stuff. So like that.
You know, we were speaking about being shy. You know, I think, you know, the key is not to be creepy, right? But some people might not know what it means to, like, not be creepy. You know, some people might not be creeps, but can still come off with, like, creepy vibes. You know, I think being awkward and shy can come off as being creepy, especially for an amateur and who's, like, you know, just starting out. Have you had any situations where it was hard to gauge if they're creepy or awkward or just shy? Yeah,
there's definitely been those instances. I think especially nowadays, you definitely have to ask, like, oh, can I move that? Like, if the photographer physically wants to adjust you a little bit, you know. Before, and still in my professional jobs, they just come up and they're like they will touch everything. But I feel like nowadays you definitely have to ask beforehand. It doesn't necessarily have to be super formal, like, do I have consent to do this? But it's more, you can be more casual and just ask, oh, is it okay if I adjust you real quick or move you, or can I move this piece of hair? Things like that. But there's been shoots more in the beginning of my modeling where you know, someone's shooting and there is, like, a piece of hair, like, on my face, and, like, without asking, they just go and they're like, and I'm like, whoa, like, I wasn't expecting, like, the hand to come up to me. Just I don't think necessarily it's creepy, but there's little body language things too, like eyes moving and when you are, I guess, verbally, like, communicating, like, oh, that's fire. Like, there's some things that are kind of uncomfortable and aren't really professional to
like body
say.
language.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like, oh, that's gorgeous, that's fire, like, oh, that's amazing. Like, I think those are good words to say, but there's, you know, I can't think of it on the top of my head, but there's some things that you can, that photographers say that make you double think.
Maybe they sound more.
Was that normal?
Maybe they sound more bougie than us. I mean, you know, we talk that street talk, so it's like that's fucking fire. You know, so
that's fire.
I'm sure, like, you know, more photographers in like in the actual industry, they probably say, "That's beautiful, yes, work it," you know, stuff that we see in the movies. But it's like us just, you know, being more like, we're not from the fucking streets. I'm just saying, you know, it's like
fucking slums.
Casual.
We're more casual. You know, we come from this generation where it's like, you know, the slang is more popular. So it's like, you know, that's fucking fire. Just keep that going and, you know, stuff like that. But versus, you know, somebody saying, yes, work it. Keep doing that, you know, and, you know, stuff like that. And I see that shit
But I
all the
think
time.
words of, like, encouragement is also good, you
That
know,
is,
for both
any
ends.
kind of words of encouragement like that is like, keep working it, you know, like, I think that also boosts the model's, I'm not going to say the model's ego, but it's like, it's given her...
It's validation.
It's validation.
And
like,
everyone loves validation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like...
some validation.
Yeah,
Facts,
exactly. And I'm
facts.
sure, you know, when a photographer's saying, yes, work it, you're like, like, you know, turning your head,
You're
like,
like, okay,
you're feeling yourself. And that's what it's all about. Like, you do definitely have to, as a model, feel yourself, because that also helps the photographer, you know. But like I said, I mean, you know, with you're already to a certain point where it's like you already know your angles, you kind of already know how to pose, and that's why when we go into a shoot, I won't typically tell you what to do, because I already know you kill it. We worked so many times together. It's like you already get that vibe with a person. You already know how they work. You already kind of know like what kind of angles I like, and you know, stuff like that. But when it comes to like a first time model or somebody I've never worked with, I'm always gonna guide them, because I definitely want them to know as well as a photographer what I like. If you don't let, like, I guess as a photographer, it's hard because, you know, every photographer has their own style. Every photographer has their own style. You know, of course, you already know I love working with colors and lower angle shots, and, you know, kind of, you know, your face to the side a little. I love that kind of shit. But of course, like another photographer, I'm not talking about John. I'm morely talking about just in general. Somebody else may like higher up shots, you know. But that's why it's so good to, you know, give that model the validation, and also the model giving the photographer some tips on what you like, because it gives us like a better sense of validation of like, yeah, you're doing good, like keep going like this, like, or just giving tips. It's definitely going to help improve both the model and photographer.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I definitely want to go back, because this is one of the topics I wanted to talk about was, you know, what you just mentioned, don't touch the model. Like, you always got to be sure that the model is okay, whether or not, like, you can move a piece of hair, pose her in a specific way. But photographers out there, no matter if you're a girl or guy, never touch the model. Like, I had, you know, I never had a bad experience with it. I used to do that though before. You know, when getting into photography, I would actually kind of move a model's hair without asking, and you know, you learn from your mistakes. I've never had anybody talk bad about my name or anything like that, but it's just like you kind of feel like, should I have done that? Like, should, you know, like...
You double think it.
Yeah, you double think it about it. And like I said, I'm not going to lie, I used to do that before, like when I first started doing photography. But in that, I think as, you know, as you grow as a photographer, you get to know what you need to do, like what you need to be careful of. And, you know, that's why I always usually will ask a model, like, can I move this? Or majority of the time, I'm just saying, can you move your hair a little bit? Can you move your face a little bit this way? And that's much easier for me to say to somebody than like me having to touch somebody, you know? And I think that makes a female or even a male, it doesn't matter. I don't want to just talk about like females as a photographer, males as well. If I'm working with a male model, I don't want to make him feel weird because I'm a male photographer, you know? So it's like, just in general, I think it's a lot, like big tips for photographers, learn verbally instead of physically. Like learn how to actually pose somebody with just words instead of needing to have to touch them. Because you know how we work. I'll be like, oh, can you turn back this way? Move your hair just a little bit. You know, maybe pop your shoulders or whatever. You know, like it's just better that way and a lot easier. You know? So.
No, it is a lot easier. You know, but there is sometimes like I used to do the same as well. You know, move their hair a little bit or just move their shoulders. But yeah, now sometimes like now that you know I try to direct them, sometimes they don't do exactly what I want them to do.
Yeah, like they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know.
Newer models.
Newer models, yeah. So, you know, you ask them, you know, is it okay if I just move you a little bit to get you where I want you?
And that's
because,
okay.
Yeah. And they're mostly in 10 times out of 10, you know, they're fine with it. Yeah. But just asking for consent and, you know, I think is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever had like a situation where somebody like touched you without consent and you felt weird about it?
Not not touch me in like a super crazy way, other than like the hair. Like hair is like a big thing, or maybe just like moving the shoulder a little bit. But I haven't had like a very crazy moment. But I will say, you know, for my newer models, once you do get, I guess, jobs, like if you get with an agency and stuff, like you have to get comfortable with being touched, because you will be touched when you have those signed jobs, when, you know, those stylists is fixing your outfit.
Well, especially when it's fast paced.
Exactly. Yeah. Or maybe you're changing out of outfits, but you can't touch your face. You're going to have 2 or 3 people touching you to get your outfit on. Like, I just had a job this past week. That's why my hair is red. Yeah. And it looks good, by the way.
Yeah, it does. It looks
good.
Thank you. I probably had like 4 or 5 people touching me at once, like constantly adjusting me. And there's people touching up your makeup, people touching your hair. Sometimes they will pose you because they want a specific shot. Yeah. So you have to get used to being touched, but you have to know it's not in a
sexual way.
It's not in that way whatsoever. It's, you know,
it's a professional way.
Exactly. It's all about that shot.
They're all just trying to nail that shot.
And they're on a time limit too. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So when it comes to collab shoots though, when it's like a one-on-one or like a smaller group, definitely consent is important. Yeah. But when it comes to, you know, when you get those bigger jobs and those actual like clients and stuff, you're gonna have to get used to being touched. Yeah. Sometimes they ask you for your consent, but like they're already touching you. They're already touching you, and they're like, "Is it okay to touch if I touch you?" And I'm like, "You're already touching me." So,
might as well. Yeah.
You know what, guys? Like, it's, you know, kind of what like C brought up. If you want to know what she's talking about, refer to movies and TV show, because literally what you see in movies and TV shows, it's accurate. Yeah. It's literally, and I've seen it. I've seen it happen in person, you know, and that's just the way the industry works, you know, out here. So, and yeah, like I said, as a model, you also just kind of got to understand it's a fast-paced entertainment business, and this is just how, you know, Hollywood is. You know, it like you said, it's not meant in no sexual way or in a specific way like that. It's just they're trying to get the fucking shot. Yeah. Right. Like, so, you know, don't feel weird when they're all kind of touching you, because it could be a female or it could be a guy.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't matter. Like, a female could be touching you, but it's not like in a way that you would, you know, you would think.
She's just like, she's just trying to fix her shirt.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I'm sure, like, you know, your girlfriend knows because she's a designer.
Yeah.
You know, you have to get in there. You have to like move them around.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You know, like another topic, I don't want to touch too long on this because it's not as important, but morely just talking about like a first time photographer and, you know, first time model working together is vibe out with some music. Bring a Bluetooth speaker. Yes. You know, bring a Bluetooth speaker so it doesn't feel super awkward, because, you know, I've definitely been there. Like, even though I'm you know, extroverted, I feel like you can add more flair, you know, to your conversations with just some music. You know, just a little music will actually help the model get into like a specific space where it's like, you know, you're kind of vibing out. You're like, you're feeling yourself, you know, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It's like, you're feeling yourself with the music. Like, you don't really got to have a photographer tell you. It's like, think about like John's a dancer, you know, and as soon as he hears music, he's probably just vibing out, you know, like he's doing this shit and, you know, like stuff like that, shit. You know, so it's like, think about
become another person.
Yeah, you become another person, you know, so it's like, and I barely dance, so it's like, you know, I would become a different person and start popping like John and stuff, you know, but going back to like as a model, it's like, as a model, you're definitely feeling that vibe, especially if it's a song that you're feeling. Exactly. That's why it's also a good idea to ask the model, what kind of music do you like? Don't just play a music that you like, because the model may not like that music. So you could be working with a model that loves rock and I love R&B and pop, you know, or hip hop. And, you know, as long as you ask the model, like, what kind of music you like, oh, I like, you know, like, let's just, for example, Britney Spears. Like, well, you got to play some fucking Britney Spears so she actually feels comfortable. Whatever you can do to make the model feel comfortable, you got to do. So it does, like, that's a big tip, guys. It's like, bring a Bluetooth speaker, bring some music along, ask the model what kind of music they actually like, and then just go from there and see how you guys vibe out.
Yeah, it helps them feel comfortable,
definitely.
too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, music definitely, like, sets the tone, too, and it sets the vibe, and it also helps, you know, of course, like, not being awkward. Yeah. You know, last time we shot, you know, you told me this crazy story about an artist, which I kind of want to touch on a little bit. you don't have to say names or anything, but you know, you're never afraid to like speak your mind.
No, I'm not.
And you know, when it comes to these uncomfortable and weird shoots,
I remember this.
Even when it comes to big names in the industry,
the biggest name.
Yeah, I remember this.
So I kind of want you to tell the story about the time where you got kicked out of a shoot.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, for refusing to do something you were uncomfortable with.
And guys, this is a big artist. Like we're not gonna throw the name out there, but
if you know, you know.
Yeah,
right.
if you know, you know.
Right.
So
basically, it was for a TV show. You know, big artist is co-directing, producing the show, whatever. I was hired just to be literally what they said, bikini model, or what was it? Bikini model at the pool.
Okay,
That's all that was there. 2-day shoot. Okay, cool. We pull up, it's at his house, at the artist's house, and we're like, okay, whatever. And let's just say the shoot was very explicit. Like, I show up and literal porn stars there, naked in the pool, swimming around. I'm swimming in the pool as well, and they weren't actually having sex, but they're having like recreating a sex scene by the pool, and it was just very explicit. There was even a guy running around naked, which I feel like is a step up, because I feel like female nudity is, I don't want to say normalized, but it's
you see it more often.
Common.
Yeah, more common.
But male nudity in media is not as common. So there was even a naked guy, you know? Yeah. And anyway, the first day was okay, other than the fact that, you know, there was these porn stars on set and it was very explicit and none of us knew what we were getting into. So that was the first day. Whatever, we got over it. We're like, okay, this is Hollywood. This is how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
But then the second day we were shooting his basement. He has a bar downstairs in his basement. There's an underground swimming pool, indoor swimming pool, and a basement that's sort of like a bar.
Okay.
And there was a little stage, and you know, I'm wearing my little bikini because that's what I was hired to do. And I was asked, well, first of all, I was told by intimacy coordinator, which their job is to make sure everyone's comfortable. Literally, that's their job.
That's the actual thing?
Yeah, I've never heard of that either.
Intimacy coordinator.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's a actual like production job where their job is to coordinate the intimate scenes and also just make sure everyone's comfortable.
Damn.
And they're more common in more explicit type shows.
How do I get hired?
Euphoria,
are you comfortable? You good?
No,
you better do butt stuff. You good?
Like
you want me to tap in?
Yeah. Like the one intimacy coordinator, he was the nicest crew member on the set because that's his job.
Yeah.
And he even asked all of us models beforehand, you guys don't have to do anything you're not comfortable doing. And he even asked all of us, each of us individually, are you okay with this? Are you okay with that? What are you not okay with? And I told him, like, I don't want anyone touching me, because he asked me the first night, is it okay if some of the actors come up and touch you? And I said, no. He's like, that is fine. That is okay. And we moved on from the first day. But the second day, he already knew that. And then he asked if I was comfortable dancing, like, on the little stage and having the actors touch me. And I said, no. I'm not comfortable with that.
That even sounds worse.
And I said, no, I'm not okay with that. And I'm not going to be dancing in my little bikini because that's not what I was hired to do. I was just hired to be by the pool.
Right.
He was like, okay, that's all fine. That's good. And then I don't know who it was, but it was like a combination of the Weeknd.
Oh, damn!
All right, guys.
She was doing so good.
She was doing so good. You guys now you guys know who it is.
Oh shit! I mean, maybe it's a good thing.
Maybe it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good thing.
I will say there was a Rolling Stones article that came out exposing how the set was uncomfortable, and I did have 2 ADs, assistant directors, come up to me apologizing to me because they knew they were in the wrong. Yeah. So they were trying to cover up for themselves, you know. So anyway,
she been drinking. She been drinking.
She be drinking.
I had like an inch. But anyway, you know, I don't care. But
right.
They didn't like the fact that I didn't want to dance, and 2 other models didn't want to dance either, and they were like, first of all, they made us like sit out for like a long time, didn't tell us what's going on. We're like, okay, why are we sitting here? And they were like, okay, you guys gotta leave. They're like, you're done. And then me and the other models were kind of over it at the point because there's so many other things that happen on set that we were just treated unfairly, like our stuff getting left out in the rain, and he didn't want our stuff in his house even though it's getting rained on outside, and just things like that. We were just treated very badly. Background in general, obviously you're not treating the best because you're background, but just still is just very dehumanizing almost. And they asked us to leave. Of course they apologized because they're like, I'm sorry, this shouldn't have happened. And they even said, we've been having problems on this set.
Damn.
That's what
crazy.
they said.
Damn.
I'm not spilling anything here. I will show you guys. There was a Rolling Stones article.
Already.
It was public. A few of the crew members, because they already wrapped, a few of the crew members came forward anonymously talking about how, you know, the Sam Levinson, the director, and The Weeknd, they're just twisted. You know, they made the show, literally how they describe it was torture porn, was how they described the show.
I know exactly what show you're talking about now. Okay, it's actually coming out very soon, I think.
It's coming out this summer.
This summer,
And I don't know how it's gonna go with, you know, the little backlash that's going on. People are still gonna watch it because, you know, it's The Weeknd. But this was my personal experience with it. And if that was, you know, me happening as a model, if that happened to me and the other girls on set, I can only imagine how other people were treated.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And my thing was there was literal porn stars on set hired to do explicit things. You know, they're already naked, dancing in the pool, all of that. But because I didn't want to dance
their job.
in my bikini, that's not my job. I wasn't hired to do that.
Exactly. That's their job. You have a different job and, you know, intention of what you were hired for.
Exactly.
But if there was a little bit more money, you know, they might have. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You guys already know. The thing about me is you can never pay me any amount of money to do something.
We know you.
That's one thing that I wanted to bring up.
We know you.
Like, I know my boundaries, and you know, after that, if anything, I wasn't even upset at the fact I got kicked out because I don't care for screen time or anything about that. I just care about getting my check for what I was paid to do.
And what you were told to do in the first place.
Exactly. So I wasn't butthurt about that. I was just butthurt at the fact I was treated. And I was like, how can other people treat other people like that? I get I'm just background. You know, you're not all that. You know, in your background, like I know my place, but you don't treat people like that.
100%.
It's not okay, and it very much was, you know. Like a power thing. I don't know.
And props to you for, like, you know, not, you know, believing so much into the hype that, like, oh shit, this is The Weeknd, so I'm gonna do whatever it takes to get as much screen time. You stand your ground. You know, you were uncomfortable. You told them what you were okay and what you weren't okay with, and you stuck with it. You know, I think that shows you as a professional, and it shows you as a person that what you are okay with and what you aren't.
Well, another thing is too, you know, you give really good insight on how Hollywood actually is, and you know, I know this just from working in the film industry, and I know, you know, this is how the film industry just is, and a lot of people don't know and don't realize this is just how it is. They will change shit up on production day. Like, they will shift your job immediately. Like, you might get hired for this, but then immediately you're doing this. And that's the fucked up thing about Hollywood, and I don't agree with either. And you know, I've obviously I haven't worked on like a big fancy Hollywood production, but you know, just I work for the Oscars, a place obviously where, you know, all films go through, and I hear stories from a lot of you know, people that have worked with certain directors and stuff like this. So I definitely know how it is, and that's just Hollywood for you. A lot of people think Hollywood works in, like, it's so flashy and stuff, but guys, it's
dark.
It's dark and it's fake. Remember, Hollywood is 100% fake. It's 100% fake, guys. So, like, for those out there that are like, oh, I want to move to Hollywood and, you know, expect it to go well, guys, Hollywood is 100% fake. So whatever you see on TV, don't believe it. Like, it's fake.
Yeah, even award shows and stuff. It's all scripted.
Yes.
You know, just at the end of the day, know your boundaries. Know your boundaries, know your morals. If you're someone that's willing to be flexible because, you know, you want that you think that would be good for you in your career, all power
Benefit
to
you,
you, but be safe. Like that's the end of the thing, because you do not want to go back and regret like, oh my gosh, I actually, did that nude scene, and now like years later I'm trying to get another job and like I can't, or like my kids are seeing it, things like that, because that is how I see it, because I'm being realistic. I don't know if modeling is going to work out, and so I'm not gonna do this and that for like
the clout, or
like
Hollywood is fucked up, guys.
Possible clout,
and I feel like them kicking me off set, I feel like they thought they were punishing me. They probably thought I was someone just wanting to get screen time. But when they're like, you gotta leave, I was like, okay, bye. You don't want to respect my boundaries, I'm leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
And
guys, Hollywood is fake, and 100% like just not what you think it is. So,
and that's crazy.
You learn from being in the industry.
You do.
That's a wild story too. That's why I was like, damn, you had to, bring it into light, because it shows a lot, not only how the industry is, but how people work, and and you're a real one for staying true to your ground and true to who you are as a person. So facts. Major props to you. And so aside from that story, have you heard any other crazy stories from maybe like a friend who's a model or anything? I kind of wanted to know, like, what have you heard and what your friends have experienced when it comes to like, creepy stories or, big things like that.
I don't think I haven't had any of my close model friends have anything happen to them, thank God.
Good.
But you hear stories through social media and through the grapevine of actual assaults happening and things like that, and it makes you scared. And with how social media is now, it's the victim blaming is like so fast. They're like, oh, you shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. But it's also like, well, that photographer shouldn't have taken advantage of their position to
100%.
do that.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's, one lesson. But fortunately, I haven't heard any personal stories from friends, and I hope I never do.
Good.
But we probably heard the same stories throughout the community, because LA at the end of the day is small.
Exactly.
When you think about it, when it comes to modeling, the creative industry, it's pretty freaking small. You're gonna run into people and you're gonna hear stories. So we probably heard the same stories over and over again. But
you have the craziest stories. That's why we had to have you on.
That's
crazy.
That one story especially, I'm just like, I look back at it and I just kind of like, I'm proud of myself for standing my ground.
For
and
sure.
my family was really proud of me that I did stick my ground, and I was like, bye. I told them like, oh my gosh, I got kicked off the set like when it happened. They're like, what freaking happened? And I told them, and they're like, we're really proud of you. I'm like, thanks.
Asian parents.
Exactly.
Yes.
You did something good when they say they're proud.
I know. They never do.
Exactly.
Especially Kamai.
Tell me about
Well,
it.
I mean, her dad is also Filipino.
Oh yeah. So that's true too.
So
never heard, like, you hardly ever hear that. So when you do hear that, you're like, okay, I made the right decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Facts.
Yeah.
I want to move on to, like, this is pretty much our last topic, but befriending a model. Sometimes after the first shoot, second shoot, or whatever, you guys definitely get a certain vibe from each other. Like, of course, me and you, we've shot many times, and I'm proud to call you my friend. It's not like we always hang out or it's not. It's
inspirational grandpa.
No, of course.
Cue the music.
No, I'm being serious. It's not like we always just hang out or whatever. And it's just a friend is a person that you can always just go to and talk to. You vibe out, and for us, it's like we chat here and there on Instagram or whatever. We support each other. And
comfort each other at the losses.
Exactly. And just even when we go out and shoot, it's like we're friends. We're able to just like talk to each other as a normal person. As just as a normal friend would. But of course, you don't want to get to a point where things get creepy. Like, let things happen naturally, and this goes for every photographer, any model. It doesn't matter, and sometimes it may definitely turn into something more by nature, like that actually naturally happens. Like, obviously me and Rachel, Rachel was just, I had moved down here to LA, of course, majority of you guys know, to pursue the film industry. And I started hitting up many models and stuff like that. Rachel ended up just being one of the models I ended up hitting up. And, turned into, after our first shoot, we went for a second shoot, started turning into friends, and then obviously, turning into she's my fiance now, so it's like so it's like
what a princess story.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just,
I haven't been that fortunate yet.
You will.
It's okay,
You
John.
will. You
They
will.
come when you least expect it.
Exactly, and that's why, and that's
They
my
do.
point. It's like, let things go by nature. Like, like,
don't force anything.
don't force anything,
Right.
because I feel, there are so many creepy stories out there where it's like, a photographer, this is their intention. It's like to meet women,
Right,
and try to have things go more than, obvious. But like I said, with me and Rachel, it was more natural. It was like, let that happen. Don't force it to happen. Stop being creepy. Like, start off slow. Like, obviously we went from our first shoot to a second shoot, and then just like, oh, you want to go hang out? Yeah, let's go hang out. Hang out.
Dates,
Very
and
facts.
then just go from there and see where. And I'm proud to call her my fiance now, obviously. But that, like, it's morely my point is, it's like, don't abuse the power of being a photographer. Like, let shit flow naturally. Like I said, I do want to get into some of the stories that we've heard, because these are photographers out there that is abusing the power of being a photographer. And I don't know the names of these people. It's just stories I've heard.
Yeah.
But we'll take you. Well, you have a couple stories that we know, so I'll let you tell one of the stories as well, right?
I forgot. Okay, I don't know.
You already know though.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
We didn't plan this out, but
No.
I'm gonna tell one of the stories I know that had gone viral before. Okay.
No, I think we're talking about the same one.
No,
because
this one's different.
Oh, this one's different.
I'll let you
He's
deal
like,
with
I
this.
know it's different.
I'll let you deal with the Seattle one.
Okay,
Because that's the one you're thinking about, right? Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
I'm talking about something else, because, like I said, there's many out there.
Yeah.
But this one was really disgusting and fucked up, and I think it needs to be talked about. But like I said, I don't know the name. I'm not gonna put names out there in general, anyways.
This is
but
the story.
Yeah, this is the story. This is what tons of models have posted about, and I'm pretty sure he's canceled already. But I just pretty much want to say, like, guys, just don't be this person, okay? So pretty much, what the model, she had put this out on Twitter, and then so many models had come out and said the same exact shit about this same person. So it's like, that's how you know this guy was fucked up. But pretty much started off with, collaboration. The guy wanted to work with this model, and she didn't necessarily say whether they were doing like boudoir type of shoots or whatever, but pretty much, it was like the guy was trying to collab. She liked the work, and they decided to meet up one day, and it was like their first time meeting up, right? And so he ended up, I guess he has this kind of studio looking apartment, looks like the typical downtown LA studios that you would see where you would shoot and all that, right? So anyways, they meet up, take some photos here and there, and all of a sudden, from what she had said, was he had said, hey, come over and sit on my lap, let's take a selfie real quick. And she was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And he was pretty much forcing it. Like, he started to be very forceful to the point where he was touching her in some private areas, and she got scared. And obviously, she was like, take me home now. Like, this is not appropriate and stuff like that. And he pretty much right out, like I said, that's the basis of the story. I don't need to get into details, but that's pretty much where it ended up. This dude and, this model met for the first time, and he started inappropriately touching her in a specific area. And that's like beyond what you should even be doing. It's terrifying. I mean, even...
Not even just as a photographer, just like any sort of person that, it's not even like the photographer's in a position of power necessarily, but they're in a position where they can take advantage.
Exactly.
And it doesn't even just go for photographers. It goes like in any job field where you have that dynamic.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like you should just not be doing that.
I mean, in general, it's like you should not be, like I said, I mean, this is a guy touching a female's private the first time they met.
Right.
And, like, I mean, think about that. That's like fucking disgusting, like fucking like messed up. And, you already know after that, especially if the model has a great following, you're going to be put on blast.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she did. And I think she had linked his Instagram or whatever, and I even tried clicking on it to see what he pretty much deleted his account. So nobody was really able to figure out who he was, I think she had posted more, even put his actual name on blast. But this is one of those viral stories that had, went viral on Twitter and then Instagram. And, this just shows you, like, the photography community can definitely be very toxic. And, a lot of models out there, whether I'm not going to just say females or males, like, it goes both ways, because you never even know, like, there may be a creepy female photographer out there that thinks of a guy specific way, and she starts wanting to do some weird shit as well, like, that's just how it is, guys. Like, I don't want to think of it as one way where it's like a dude wanted to try to hook up with a female, maybe vice versa, and female photographer acting the same way. Female photographers I've never heard anything bad about a female photographer, but I'm just trying to put it out there.
There's not that many.
Yeah, there's not that many. I'm just trying to put it out there in general, like, this is vice versa. Like, guys, just keep your space, and just think about the artwork, and also just let shit flow gradually and naturally. Like I said, with me and Rachel, we went from shooting to hanging out, and then now she's my fiance. Let that shit flow gradually and naturally, so you're in a good space. You don't want to sound like a fucking creep or a sexual predator. In general.
And speaking about things going viral too, one thing that is great to bring up is the blacklist. There's a blacklist.
Yeah, did we
in
talk
Seattle.
about that before?
We did talk about
that.
that.
So we definitely got to bring it back again. So
Blacklist the week. I'm just kidding.
Oh damn!
Blacklist
Damn. No, we need to.
You can speak on it.
Yeah, I mean, like, in Seattle, like, we had a lot of models talk about this blacklist where, like, there's photographers that you shouldn't work with because of mutuals that they talk to, has blacklisted photographers or people to work with. And when we brought that up to you, you actually told us that there is also a blacklist in LA. So I kind of wanted to, like, get your input. Like, how did you find out that blacklist? Like, is it through mutual friends?
Well, don't put it out there.
Well, of course.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I don't know about a physical one, but when you, like I said, the modeling community especially is pretty small.
I think that's what maybe we're saying. It's like I maybe there's not a physical blacklist, but I guess what we're trying to say is, like, a blacklist could mean, like, you communicating with another model, and then models, you guys talk. So that's technically like a blacklist, but just not a physical list of everybody. It's just like, don't work with this model, or don't work with this photographer and stuff like that. So
yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure after I posted about that most recent photographer, I don't even know his username.
Okay.
But a handful of models reach out to me saying they had similar experiences with him messaging, and then he was like spam liking people's things but not saying anything, and just strange things like that on professional things, or commenting weird things. And I had a friend where he would always slide up on her stories with, like, raindrop emojis, like wet emojis and things like that. So, yeah,
that's fucking
weird.
Yeah, that's really weird. Yeah.
It just already shows to tell that, I was gonna say, it all comes down to intentions. Do you intend to actually go into this art form because you love this art form, or are you going into it because you want to get with girls? And right away, like, that photographer was just trying to get with girls. And a lot of girls reach out to me, and they either said, I had an interaction with this guy, or they said, who is this person? And I told them, and I ended up posting him. Pretty sure most models that blocked him after that. So you're blacklisted.
You're blacklisted. No, I mean, I think that's how we also got onto this topic, was after you had posted that, I had reached out to you, and I was like, this would be a good podcast to kind of talk about and bring up letting everybody know, like, whether you're a model photographer, this is how you're supposed to work. Like, don't abuse the art form, because this is an art form. I mean, photography isn't, like, who knows? I mean, I don't know how photography was years ago before we were all born, but now it's becoming something where photographers are abusing this to actually meet women, females, try to obviously have sex with them, and stuff like that. That's now the intentions of most guys nowadays when it comes to this art form, and it's fucking it up for a lot of us people that actually love doing the art. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie. You can tell in somebody's work. Obviously, like, if their work has not progressed in a specific way and it all looks the same, you already know they're using this art form for a certain reason, because there's always going to be progression as a photographer. You're always going to find ways to shoot better. You're always going to find ways to edit better. But if there is no progression in your work, you're not doing it. Like you're literally abusing the art form just to meet females. If you don't see the progression, that it just shows in your work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's a red flag. I think I've talked about this before, probably the first podcast. You know, that's a red flag if they only shoot nude.
Yeah, exactly.
Only shoot lingerie, if they only shoot implied. You know, if they only do these like sexy shots, if that's all they're doing.
Right.
Exactly.
Why is that?
Why exactly?
Like,
Yeah. No, and you bring a good point there, because that kind of ties into one of the stories. Do you want to talk about that story? The one Seattle dude?
You go ahead, because I hardly remember it.
Okay, so I mean, there's a couple stories that had gone viral.
It was very old.
Like a couple. Well, no, one story went viral, but the other one I just know within like the model and photographer community. So I had already talked about it. The dude would just majority take photos at his house, models.
That's the one I remember.
Yeah, just dressed in bikinis or lingerie and stuff like that. And like I said, I had seen Facebook post and stuff about like him just doing this to meet girls and then would pretty much have sex with them after. And models would kind of go for it because it's like he knew what he was. So he was abusing his power and what he could actually do, but not utilizing it because of the art form. He was utilizing it to just meet women and have sex with them. And like I said, it just makes all the photography community look really bad.
And so many other women started coming out and telling them their experience and their story, and so it just got so viral to the point where like I'm not sure what happened, but it got really, really big and blown out of proportion. I don't know.
So the one you're talking about is a little bit different about what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
But I'll go into that one. So that one,
you got story for days.
Yeah, no, I got stories for days. Like I said, and this is why it's a good topic, because I hear so much about it. Being a photographer and in this community, you do hear stories, and I think it needs to be brought to life so it brings awareness to models and photographers themselves. And so pretty much what he's talking about is there's a videographer, photographer. He did more photography stuff, but back from Seattle, he would work with big influencers out here in LA. He got to the point where he was working with some influencers in Seattle, but then moved out here to LA, and then started working with a lot more bigger influencers out here and stuff. So he was building his name as a photographer, and I think he had almost like 200,000 or 300,000 followers on Instagram and stuff like that. So eventually it got to the point, like one of the girls I actually followed, she would post about him all the time, like they're great friends and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden she had posted this story, like, you guys had seen, you guys had seen what I posted about this, I forget his name, but showing we were great friends, but he's actually disgusting. He was pretty much, what she was saying was, I guess at one point he tried to like sexually molest her or do some kind of sexual stuff, when she only had seen him as just a good friend, and he would not stop. And it got to the point where she felt
really uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. He went out of bounds and stuff like that. And at that point, and that's why I'm saying it's crazy, because they were really good friends. Like, she had photos. She had always posted stories of them on Instagram, like photos of each other together and hanging out as friends. But he took it to the next level, and like I said, he pretty much was forcing it, and she would say stop and didn't, and it got to the point where she pretty much just put him on blast. They weren't friends anymore, and just that little thing right there will fuck up everything that you had. And I think they were friends for years, and like I said, but after that, after she had put that out, she had literally mentioned that he was doing this to other people as well. So blacklisted, immediately. Women will tell their stories, and it's good. It's good, women are opening up about this, and because proactive about it, because some majority of women are scared about it, because they don't know how it's going to backfire. They don't know if this dude is going to come out and do something to them. But it's definitely, it shows women are very strong and can talk about these kind of things, even regarding like what possibly can happen with a dude. I think personally it's good women talk about this to bring awareness to other women, like be careful of this specific person, or be careful of you in general as a woman. And this is why we're talking about this on the podcast, is because we want to bring awareness to other females, but not just, you know, models. Like, we want to bring awareness to photographers as well, and how you should act. Like, don't act like a fucking creep. Like, just be a regular person. Do this for the love of the art of photography, and not to meet women. Because I got into photography because I love the art. You know, like, I'm not gonna go on a tangent. I can go on a tangent.
Thank you, Grandpa.
I can go on a tangent right now, but I'm just gonna say, guys, like, I started off with shooting music videos, you know, and eventually got to the point where I couldn't shoot music videos anymore, evolved into photography. And that's how I got into photography, shooting with family members, shooting with just friends. John was the first person I had asked, you know, to shoot photos of and stuff like that. And then, you know, it just started going. And
friends and family.
Friends and family. And then it started going, reaching out to other people. That just shows you, like, how much I actually love the art form of photography and videography, is just shooting, like, transitioning from one art form to another, and just working with my family and friends. I could have just worked with my family and friends if I wanted to, but it got to the point where I was like, photography is so awesome. I want to start working with other people, you know, and it just transitioned into me reaching out to random, like I said, I'm not going to call them models, but random girls, just say, hey, I'm a photographer, blah, blah, blah. Would you love to shoot? Saw my work. They're like, yeah, I would love to shoot, you know, and just keep it going. If you want to be a successful photographer, don't get fucking blacklisted. Just do this for the love of the art form of photography, and just run with it, and keep progressing your photography. Don't use it to just meet girls. Like, you know,
don't ruin it for the rest.
Yeah, throw that camera away.
If that's your intention.
Exactly.
Exactly. Stay on Hinge and you know, Tinder.
Yes.
Swipe.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, like I said, you know, I mean, that's pretty much our last topic to, you know, touch on, but yeah, just in general, guys, just don't be fucking creepy. That's all I gotta say.
Don't be creepy.
Yeah,
just
to sum it all up.
Yeah, just to sum it all up, like, at the end of the day, just don't be fucking creepy.
Just be a friend, just be supportive, you know, talk with them, you know, this is, especially if you want a long-term, like, relationship with
a model,
or
that you want to keep working with.
Anybody who you work with, you know, it's definitely a relationship that you have to build. So, you know, break the ice, you know, get out of your shell, and just talk and have a good time, because it's fun. You know,
it is.
And do it for the fun and for the love of it. You know?
And if you're like Corey, and, you know, you're not doing it to get at women, you love the art form, but you so happen to meet someone you vibe with, you really like, go with the flow. Don't freaking go out there pushing people's boundaries, doing things you shouldn't be doing.
Exactly.
Be a normal person.
Exactly. 100%. Like,
it's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy when you're not a creep. You know, it's just like,
exactly.
We're not creeps. We don't know. We don't know how creeps think.
Yeah, we don't know how
creeps
creeps
are probably like, oh, I'm just gonna go for it.
Exactly.
You know, I don't care. But
just let that shit flow naturally and see where it goes. You know, I mean, obviously with me and Rachel, that shit just flew naturally, and we are where we are now.
Happily ever after.
Yeah, we're gonna be getting married. You know, so it's like
enchanted explorers.
Oh my gosh, stop! I love that.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, hopefully this episode was definitely a learning experience for a lot of you out there. Like I said, we just want to bring awareness to everybody out there, whether you're a model, photographer. Hopefully this helps anybody that is unaware of what can go on in this industry, because there is just a lot of weird shit that a lot of people don't know of, and you know, they just want to dive in because a majority of the people do love this shit. They want to get into the art form, but then some people don't realize a lot of people do this to just try to meet people and try to go beyond, you know, beyond that, and trying to be a creep and stuff like that. So I mean, like I said, if there's any last things you want to touch on,
I hope that this will be able to help, you know, newer models or models that, you know, don't know, because again, there's no book on this, you know, about looking out for red flags, green flags, all of that. You know, my DMs are always open. I have models, all my friends literally reach out to me all the time. They send me DMs and they're like, does this sound normal? And they're like, I had this interaction, was that right? You know, they always ask me, because I think, you know, I'm very confident that I'm very good at, you know, telling when something is right and when something's wrong, and I can tell people's intentions right away. So, you know, for anyone watching this, even if we don't know each other personally, you know, my DMs are literally always open if you have any questions or anything, because, you know, that's why I speak out about it, because I do not want this to happen to other girls, because they, you know, these creepy photographers do this because most likely has worked for them. You know, like, unfortunate to say, it has worked for them, you know, with naive models. And, you know, it so happens a few times photographers, you know, tried doing that with me, and I wasn't one of those naive models. I'm going to air them out because I don't want that to happen again. So
see the model advocate.
The model advocate. Sister, please DM me.
Yes.
You know, even if you know you have a little bit of a red flag, just like a little bit, or even if you don't have any of at all, like I talked about this before, reach out to your girlfriends, especially if they're mutuals. You know, have you worked with this person? How are they? Because recently I had a photographer. He was like really pushy. He's like, I want to shoot. I want to shoot. I want to shoot. I said, I don't want to shoot with you. But we had mutuals, and I reached out to my mutuals, and they're like, they told me, oh, he's great, but you have to be really clear about your boundaries. And I'm like, huh?
That sounds weird already.
Why do I have to be very clear about my boundaries? So I blocked him, like, after my friend said that. So, you know, message your friends. You know, it doesn't hurt to be too careful.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, at all. It doesn't hurt to be cautious, too careful. That's just the world that we live in as women. So you know, take any precaution you can and more.
Yeah, facts.
Well, guys, you heard it from a professional model herself that
model
is actually
advocate.
In the industry in Hollywood.
I'm gonna put that on my bio.
Model advocate.
I like that.
Let's go. Here on the Artistry Drop, you heard it here first.
Yes, you heard it here
the
first,
model
guys.
advocate.
Yes, let's go. And like I said, you know, we always put our guests, you know, Instagrams and social media in the description box below. So, like C did say, you know, her inbox is open. So any model,
I'm not just saying that to say that.
Yeah,
they're open.
Yeah,
I respond.
Yeah,
so.
any model out there that is concerned or just wants to learn more about trying to get into the modeling business, hit up our good friend C. She's been killing it. She's amazing, and like I said, I'm happy seeing your success. You're killing it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, of course. No, like I said, you're killing it. So, all right, guys. Well, we are gonna end it here. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Hopefully, it was a great, you know, tool and experience for those that are just trying to get into the industry. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, it's Artistry Drop. If you're not following us on Instagram, you can find us at the Artistry Drop. And if you prefer just listening, you could stream all our episodes on all major podcast platforms. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.